Car after car, John after John, you would never see these women walking the streets of Salt Lake City
Saturdays are good days, Friday nights are good nights.
if there was not a business for it.
I used to like to come out at 4:15 in the morning and get the guys that are going to work.
Her name is Donna, 54 years old, hooked on heroin and selling sex for the better part of a decade. She has clients, but the reality is more and more Johns are not looking for women, they want girls.
Girls are usually being enticed into this line of work as young as like age 13.
And not just enticed, but often forced into it. In roughly the last year here in Utah, there have been arrests made from St. George all the way up to Riverdale involving underage prostitution and sex trafficking. There's an obvious demand for these young girls here in the state.
It appeared to be a 16-year-old girl who was intoxicated and in the company of an older man and another teenager.
So we went undercover with the Salt Lake Police Organized Crime Unit to investigate sex trafficking on the streets. And we discovered most of the underage trafficking
Yeah, I think it's probably as big as it ever was.
is rarely found at night under the street lamps in the seedy parts of town. The fact is, it is primarily solicited online.
The number of girls we have out, walking up and down State Street or North Temple is nothing compared to the number that are posting ads on the internet.
And police say the women being advertised online are more likely to be the victims of sex trafficking. Sites like Craigslist and Backpage.com reveal hundreds of ads from services like body rubs, eluding, to a lot more. Women who sometimes look very young, advertising private locations available both day and night. The latest case involving Ontario Lowry. He's accused of holding 4 women against their will through violence. Court documents show Lowry transported his alleged victims from state to state, prostituting them through internet ads. When they got to Salt Lake, one of the women secretly called her sister, who then called police. That is just one case in which survivors like Gina say are becoming commonplace here in Utah.
If I didn't do what he wanted me to do, then he would beat me really, really bad.
At the age of 14, her father died and says a 35-year-old friend of the family took control of her life, forcing her to have sex with clients while he would be paid with drugs. In essence, Gina says she became his currency.
He was very, very violent. He'd hold me at gunpoint. He'd take pictures of me naked when I was asleep. He'd probably broken every single bone in my body.
In Gina's words, she did not know that there was a different way of life. In fact, even when the man allegedly trafficking her went to prison, she spent the next 15 years on her own as a prostitute. Salt Lake City Police Chief Chris Burbank says putting prostitutes in jail will not solve the problem. He believes they need to go after the Johns and track down the pimps. Unfortunately, these underage girls are far too afraid to rat out the people who are trafficking them. How difficult is it to work with them for them to give up information and help you go up the chain?
Well, extremely difficult. Especially you'll see circumstances where this relationship may have started when they're 8 or 9 years old.
More than 10 years out of prostitution, and Gina is living proof there is a way out. She now spends her time with Volunteers of America, helping women get out of the life she once lived. A tough battle to win as long as the customers are lining up.
I didn't really know that there was a different way to live.
Will the problem ever be solved?
Oh boy, I'd like to say yes, but again, the demand side is so enormous that it is very difficult until society says we are not going to accept this. Right? Absolutely, we're not going to accept this. It will continue.